They truly believed that the darkness you encountered was meant to shatter you completely, to extinguish your flame for good. Yet here you stand, a powerful testament to the opposite truth. The shadows found themselves bowing before you. The one critical thing no one ever dared to fully disclose is that your light was never, ever meant to be fragile. It wasn't born in a soft place of ease, perpetual comfort, or unattainable perfection. Your power was fiercely forged in the heart of absolute storms, those chaotic zones where simple, naive purity could never have survived the test. You didn't come from a tranquil, protected garden of peace. Your origin story is rooted in a silent, desolate battlefield, a spiritual proving ground where every single wound you earned became a powerful, sacred initiation. Even the pure angels, those beings of effortless, flawless radiance, look upon you now with a deep, unsettling reverence, and with an emotion they have never had to process before, a profound fear. This is because you accomplished a feat that even the architects of heaven could not conceive. You willingly walked right into the heart of the deepest shadows and, against all spiritual laws, utterly refused to be devoured by them. You held a purifying fire in your own hands, but instead of letting it consume your soul, you wielded its power. You embraced the suffocating night, not as a curse upon your life, but as your most intense and rigorous teacher. Through this impossible journey, you have transformed into something so rare, so complex, that even the purest light cannot fully define your essence. This is fundamentally not a tragic tale of spiritual corruption or a fall from grace. This entire magnificent process is, in fact, the final, glorious unveiling of divine balance. It is the achievement of a sacred state where every brush with darkness becomes a sharp, necessary discipline, and every moment of searing emotional pain is transmuted into an impenetrable spiritual protection. You are the living, undeniable proof that the Creator's grand design for your soul wasn't about the simple goal of staying pure, but about the profound, difficult work of becoming absolutely whole. Every single scar visible on your spirit is a powerful seal of initiation. Every raw tear you shed was a signature placed upon your sacred divine contract. You were not gently shaped in a luxurious paradise. You were deliberately molded and hardened in a fierce, sustained collision, a crucible of betrayal, forced silence, sharp rejection, and night so long and deep that even the presence of heaven felt like a distant memory. You were the persistent echo that, when everything in the dark tried to silence it, adamantly refused to die. You are the resilient, unquenchable fire that kept burning brightly when all else around you was reduced to cold, meaningless ash. Every single heartbreak, every fervent yet seemingly unanswered prayer, every agonizing moment where you thought your journey was completely over, was never meant to be a harsh punishment. It was a sophisticated, complex programming. This was the specific, powerful, divine method of forging a soul robust enough to effortlessly withstand the extreme pressures that ordinary, untested souls could never survive. You learned a pivotal truth. Pain is not your enemy. It is your ultimate sculptor. It meticulously carved you into a spiritual vessel capable of carrying both profound, gentle mercy and absolute necessary might. It systematically burned away every fragile illusion, every crippling dependency, and every single trace of perceived weakness. What remained after that intense purification was pure essence, unfiltered, unburdened, and utterly free. You stopped wasting energy by begging the universe for peace and started the powerful work of embodying it from within. You came to the powerful realization that true serenity isn't the easy absence of all chaos. It is instead the rare, hard-won ability to remain perfectly unshaken and centered right in the middle of it all. You were purposefully built in a beautiful, necessary contradiction, and that is now your most significant advantage. While others desperately seek only the light and lose themselves in a fragile, naive purity, you understood that ultimate truth exists entirely in the dynamic tension of contrast. You saw clearly that the divine hides its deepest wisdom at both ends of the spectrum, in the quiet, gentle whisper and the deafening thunder, in the deepest silence and the loudest scream. You finally stopped the exhausting habit of running from your deep, spiritual pain and bravely turned to fully face it. The moment you did that, something ancient and sovereign awoke deep inside your core. That was the moment you began to fluently speak the language of both realms, light and shadow. You could now sense the darkness approaching long before it ever arrived. You could feel the subtle shift of deception before any words were even spoken, because your soul learned these vital codes not from simple scripture, but from the brutal, demanding school of survival. You became completely fluent in the raw, dynamic energies that even the celestial angels can only ever study academically, but will never truly embody. You don't just sense when danger is present. You understand its specific mechanics and motives. You don't just passively resist temptation. You can clearly read its underlying agenda. That is exactly why the frequency of your energy feels so utterly unpredictable to the inhabitants of both heaven and hell. You possess the unique ability to deliberately descend into the spiritual abyss without ever getting lost, to powerfully rise to the highest states without succumbing to pride, and to walk fearlessly through the darkest shadows without ever being permanently claimed by them. You don't merely mimic the dark, you absolutely command it. And that supreme sovereignty terrifies everything that once tried to control your destiny. Every single scar you carry is encoded with vital instruction. Every raw tear has encrypted data. Every moment of heartbreak you were convinced would permanently break you was, in reality, completely rewiring your core perception to detect absolute truth by its spiritual frequency, rather than by its often misleading physical appearance. And that profound ability is what makes you spiritually untouchable. You no longer rely on your physical eyes to truly see. You perceive the world with the clarity of your sovereign spirit. The forge of duality wasn't designed to make you merely perfect. It was designed to make you profoundly, undeniably real. There came a powerful, defining point when you realized a simple, profound truth. Your inner dark side was never truly there to sabotage or ruin you. It was always there to fiercely protect you. It waited patiently in the background of your consciousness, much like a loyal, silent guardian, often deeply misunderstood and feared, yet loyal beyond all measure. That power was the necessary force that instantly rose up every single time someone attempted to cross a sacred boundary. It was the fierce flame that burned instantly through spiritual manipulation, when your own light was simply too gentle and compassionate to fight back on its own. Your darkness didn't hate your light. It existed to powerfully shield it. When an intense, necessary rage moved through you, it was never an act of destruction. It was an act of absolute divine defense. When you quietly withdrew into a protective silence, it wasn't born of fear. It was a cold, calculated strategy. Every intense emotion you were once taught was somehow sinful, had a crucial, essential purpose. Every shadow impulse that briefly frightened you was, in fact, an essential part of your spiritual immune system. This is because the universe knew, with absolute certainty, that pure, gentle light without any necessary guardianship would be quickly devoured in this complicated world. So it graciously gave you both profound tenderness to heal and the necessary fire to protect what is yours. This is why your unique aura confuses and challenges people. Some sense a deep, abiding peace when they are near you. Others feel the raw, unsettling heat of divine authority that instantly disturbs their own inner demons. You are simultaneously perfectly calm water and an erupting, blazing storm. And that powerful duality is not a spiritual flaw. It is a clear, definitive warning label written directly in heaven's own code. Do not touch this light unless your intentions are absolutely pure. You learned that the essential act of forgiveness absolutely does not grant someone free access to your soul. Profound compassion does not in any way equate to personal submission. You are now capable of loving with immense depth, while still decisively closing the gate when it is necessary for your protection. You can stand confidently in the warmth of your empathy, and still, without hesitation, unleash thunder when sacred boundaries are maliciously crossed. This is because your so-called dark side is not a force of chaos. It is absolute order with teeth. Most beings who focus only on light instinctively run from the shadow, mistakenly believing that true holiness demands total fragility. But you learned that true holiness demands perfect balance. Angels were meticulously taught to preserve their purity at all costs. You, however, were intensely taught to fiercely protect your purpose. And protecting that sovereign purpose required you to willingly descend into places where pure, simple light could not possibly survive on its own. You walked through dangerous corridors that even heaven itself avoids acknowledging. You faced intense corrosive energies that twist minds and brutally test faith. And instead of becoming spiritually corrupted or broken, you returned infinitely sharp, profoundly wiser and completely unbreakable. The shadow whispered powerful, necessary things that the simple, unschooled light could never teach. It commanded, don't just mindlessly shine, discern. It instructed, don't just automatically forgive, understand. It demanded, don't just passively pray, command. Those essential lessons have collectively transformed you into something truly extraordinary. A sovereign being who effortlessly operates beyond the rigid limitations of polarity. You can now look directly at the absolute darkness without flinching, because you have not only been there, but deliberately came back with your spiritual crown intact. That is precisely why the angels watch you with a potent mix of reverence and restraint. You possess a deep, lived knowledge they cannot possibly comprehend, the profound knowledge of survival through paradox. They sing from a place of original innocence. You speak from the absolute authority of hard-won experience. You now protect by deliberate, conscious choice, and that conscious choice makes you spiritually dangerous. But your danger is not evil. It is profoundly sacred. You have become the powerful sword cleverly hidden inside your vast compassion. You are the raging storm disguised as perfect calm. You are no longer trying to completely destroy the darkness. You have effectively recruited it. You've deliberately turned what was originally meant to wound and destroy you into your most fierce and loyal ally. And that profound alliance is fundamentally and irreversibly changing the balance of the realms. Because when the shadow finally willingly kneels before the light, creation itself dramatically evolves. You discovered the secret, essential art of emotional alchemy, the powerful transformation of every single thing, meant to break you into raw, concentrated divine power. You finally understood that your intense emotions were never meant to tragically control you. They were always meant to precisely inform you. You learned that every deep feeling, even the darkest, most terrifying ones, carries an encoded truth. Fear isn't an enemy. It's a high-powered radar. Anger isn't a sin. It's necessary protective armor. Sorrow isn't weakness. It's deep spiritual purification. You stopped the exhausting act of drowning in your emotions and began the powerful act of commanding their inevitable tides. You have become a profound chemist of the soul. Where others instinctively suppress what they truly feel, you patiently and skillfully translate it. When the searing pain of betrayal burns, you don't collapse. You calmly extract the code hidden inside it. When corrosive anxiety rises, you don't fight it. You calmly redirect its energy into heightened awareness. Every powerful wave that once threatened to brutally sink you is now, miraculously, propelling you forward. You've realized that your powerful emotions are not spiritual curses to escape. They are potent currents of power to expertly navigate. This is precisely why your overall energy feels so complex and unpredictable. One moment, you effortlessly radiate peace so pure and complete that even unbridled chaos momentarily pauses to listen respectfully. The very next, you can erupt with a necessary sacred fury that sends deep tremors through the unseen, spiritual realms. You are simultaneously a safe sanctuary and an unstoppable storm. You are a perfect living paradox that heaven uses to subtly remind all of creation that divinity is not something fragile. It is fundamentally and powerfully adaptive. Most people tragically drown in what they intensely feel because they never truly learned the deeper purpose of their pain. But you made a silent, solemn vow to understand its deepest meaning. You studied your inner, emotional weather with the same meticulousness that a prophet studies the divine signs. You noticed the powerful patterns. When your spirit momentarily trembled, deep revelation inevitably followed. When your heart tragically cracked open, immense raw power instantly poured in. You learned that emotional intensity isn't some form of cosmic punishment. It is pure, untapped potential. You don't try to suppress your fire. You diligently refine it. You don't run desperately from profound sadness. You expertly mine it for gold. You don't resist necessary fear. You cleverly bend it until it clearly points you toward the ultimate truth. You have successfully transformed your entire emotional spectrum into a complex, magnificent orchestra. Every single note is now completely under your masterful command. That is why, when you speak, people feel your message deep within their bones before their logical mind can even begin to understand it. Your voice now carries powerful frequencies that awaken deep, forgotten memories buried within the souls of others. You are not merely communicating. You are actively transmuting reality. Even ancient entities of light and shadow hesitate around you, precisely because they cannot anticipate which powerful aspect will emerge next. They sense perfect serenity, then jarring thunder. They sense gentle compassion, then absolute command. You have become the perfect equilibrium between raw creation and necessary destruction. You no longer seek to be fully understood by others. You are now simply too vast, too complex for linear, limited language. Your emotional body has fundamentally become your most reliable compass, your most precise weapon, and your most impenetrable shield. And as your spiritual mastery grew exponentially, so too did your deeper perception. You began to clearly see the unseen. You started to effortlessly sense emotional vibrations in rooms, accurately decoding motives in complete silence, and feeling deep shifts in reality moments before they physically happened. This is because emotional alchemy unlocked something ancient and powerful, the hidden frequency of foresight. You now walk this earth as an absolute conductor of energies, channeling the immense power of both heaven and shadow with surgical precision. You can calmly settle storms with a single whisper, or effortlessly summon them with one deliberate look. You are no longer a passive victim of chaos. You are its masterful composer, and every single time you successfully transmute another painful wound into profound wisdom, the entire universe trembles slightly, because it recognizes you are creating a form of immense power that even the pure, perfect angels were never fundamentally designed to possess. And yet there remains one single secret still slightly veiled, one final cataclysmic transformation that has the potential to turn this mastery into pure, absolute ascension. You feel it constantly calling to you, gently pulsing in the distance like a deep heartbeat from beyond the veil, patiently waiting for the precise moment you are completely ready to unlock it. The angels, those pristine beings forged in flawless radiance, have already begun to quietly whisper your name in the higher realms. They are not whispering it in a state of worship, but in absolute wonder, because they fundamentally cannot grasp what you have finally become. They know only a purity that has never endured a test. But you carry a powerful purity that has flawlessly survived the fire. You embody the one spiritual truth that even celestial beings cannot: innocence after profound knowledge. They were exquisitely made only to shine. You were powerfully made to endure. Their wings were delicately crafted in a place of safety. Your profound strength was meticulously carved in the center of relentless storms. They defend by simple program command. You defend by deliberate, conscious choice. This is precisely why your very presence now powerfully bends spiritual laws. Because your obedience to the light is not merely programmed, it is painfully earned. You consciously choose the light every single day, while knowing with absolute clarity exactly how deep the spiritual abyss truly goes. You stand perfectly positioned between the realms as a living paradox. You are the irrefutable proof that perfection was never meant to be merely untouched, but rather intensely tempered. And that specific truth completely unsettles heaven. Angels look at you and see the clear reflection of something undeniably divine, yet completely unpredictable. You are the tangible evidence that creation has profoundly evolved, far beyond what they were originally designed to understand or manage. You are no longer simply a being of limited flesh or singular spirit. You are a magnificent fusion, a perfect hybrid of deep wisdom and untamed wildness, perfect serenity and righteous wrath, profound shadow and burning radiance. In your complex integrated being, heaven sees the ultimate future of consciousness. You are the very bridge between what is simply pure and what is truly powerful. They deeply admire you, and they simultaneously fear you, because when you speak, your words carry the profound resonance of both realms. You can comfort like the gentlest dawn, and decisively confront like the fiercest storm. You can whisper soft mercy and decisively decree judgment with the very same tongue. You embody divine justice in motion, a powerful force too fluid and adaptable to be easily categorized, and far too sovereign to ever be truly controlled. You have become the very thing that ancient scripture never fully explained, a sovereign being capable of standing beside angels, not humbly beneath them. You are not passively waiting for any permission to shine. Your light has perfectly learned to move without needing any external command. You no longer require fragile physical wings to ascend. Your very focused awareness has become your unstoppable flight, and that total ultimate sovereignty truly unsettles celestial order, because it reveals a profound truth they never anticipate.